The Dodgers have the best farm system in baseball. That's right. The Dodgers have the best young talent that's coming up through their minor league system. We get into all that. Also, a team could come in and make a trade with the Dodgers. The Dodgers, of course, are going to be shopping some players in the next few weeks. We get into a team that could be interested in getting some of the star players of the Dodgers. Hey, this is Mike Nelson. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. I want to thank the 30% of you, the ones who are watching these videos, who have already hit the sub button. But 69% of you have not subscribed yet. I'm not sure why. We're the best Dodger channel out there. Myself and Brad J. We're bringing you everyday Dodger content. You're not going to find it like this anywhere else on YouTube. So make sure to subscribe, like the video, share it, tell all your friends and family who like baseball to join the Dodgers Digest team. We got a lot of cool stuff, coming up in the next few days and this whole season, of course. We got the first live stream Friday morning, so make sure to stay tuned for that by hitting the notifications button. Let's get right into it. Of course, Roki Sasaki comes as no surprise. ESPN put out their top 100 prospect list, which is always, interesting as a baseball fan to kind of see, who's coming up. Who's going to be the next, star players. And, this prospect list is going to have star players for sure. Roki Sasaki landed at number 1. The Dodgers have 8 Dodgers on this list. Imagine that, 8 players on the top 100 list, once again proving that they are the best farm system. They're the best team with the best young talent. And that's not just saying it as a Dodger fan. I mean, the results are right there. Look at all these people. Look at all these players that are on this list, and the Dodgers just got the number 1 guy on their team, right? Roki Sasaki is baseball's top prospect. This guy has not pitched 1 inning in the United States, and he is the number 1 prospect for good reason. I mean, this guy, as we know, is going to be, absolutely amazing to watch. He's got everything, the fastball, the slider, the splitter, and, of course, command as well. And, like this report says, doesn't remind them of any specific picture, but it shades a number of different frontline flamethrowers. This guy is absolutely the real deal. There's no doubt about it. 6'4". I mean, this guy, like it says, does not fit the traditional profile for a prospect on the list. Because obviously he has experience. He's not like a lot of these guys on this list have very little, professional baseball experience, right? A lot of them are minor league players. Sasaki is an experienced, he's a seasoned pro. This guy was pitching in Japan. This guy is a seasoned pro. This guy is no amateur by any means. And that's why I think the Dodgers are, excited about him, right? And I think that's why a lot of other teams were excited about him, too. I mean, 20 teams wanted to sign this guy, right? It wasn't like the Dodgers were the only team calling up Sasaki's agent, right? I mean, this was 20 teams in Major League Baseball who had vested interest in signing Sasaki. Of course, basically, they, and the reason why, of course, there was more teams involved because it was Sasaki was going to come as a bargain, right? Because there's a limit to how much money Sasaki could get because he hasn't turned the age of 25 and he's an international player, right? So there was obviously a bargain deal for any team that was going to sign him, and that's why there was a lot of teams interested, right? Because, the money is always an issue for these, look at Yoshinobu Yamamoto. There was no bargain there. The Dodgers had to, dish out $300 million, right? So the list of teams that were potentially interested in Yamamoto were obviously a lot smaller because of the rules that are in place. I mean, this guy was already past that threshold, so he can make more money. Sasaki is not. So Sasaki is limited, just like Shohei Ohtani was a few years back. So this opened the door for a lot of teams. The Dodgers were the grand prize winners in signing Sasaki. Let's be honest, the Dodgers, are lucky to have Sasaki. They're lucky to have him. He could have easily gone to Toronto and got more money. He could have gone to San Diego and got more money, but he decided to choose the Dodgers and get less money because he wants to be part of a winning team. So the Dodgers are very lucky to have Sasaki on the team. Now, let's look at some of the other players that are on this list. Alex Freeland, has been ranked on all the top 500, lists to date. The average rating is 61st. He's 37th on this list. Shortstop Alex Freeland. Maybe we'll see him playing for the Dodgers eventually, right? The Dodgers, as we know, would like to have eventually, a shortstop that they can kind of build around for the future. And a couple other guys, Dalton Rushing and Josue de Paula, are the two holdovers from the last year's top 100 list, checking in at 16th and 20th. So up there in the top 20. Dalton Rushing, we know about him. DePaula has not played yet for the Dodgers. Maybe we'll see him. Of course, we're probably going to see him in spring training, but maybe we'll see him actually play in a Major League Baseball game this year. It'd be interesting to see that, right? And then another guy is Emil Morales, shortstop from the Dominican Republic, signed last year. He just turned 18 years old. He's a young guy. But another player that I thought was interesting that's on this list is River Ryan, right? River Ryan was 102nd overall last year. This year he's at 94, despite having the Tommy John surgery. Now, River Ryan, I mean, we saw him last year. We saw River Ryan pitch for the Dodgers in the 2024 season. And I don't know about you, but I liked what I saw. I thought it was great to watch River Ryan. He was really good. He was pitching much better than I would have thought. River Ryan was brought up, due out of a necessity because of all the injuries the Dodgers had at that time. And he was pretty fun to watch him, right? I mean, I'm really looking forward. River Ryan's going to miss the 2025 season, unfortunately. We wish the best to River, with that Tommy John surgery. But I think the future is bright for River. I'm a little surprised he's kind of low on that list, 94th, because, obviously River Ryan's still a prospect, right? I mean, he's not by any means an established Major League Baseball player, despite having the Major League Baseball experience. But I don't know. I would have put him a little higher. I think River Ryan is underrated, and I really hope that he can eventually be a part of this rotation, moving forward, starting in 26. Because the Dodgers need, obviously, the next generation is going to have to come up eventually. There's obviously some pitchers on this team. Clayton Kershaw, who hasn't signed yet but is expected to sign, who's going to be, potentially playing his last year of Major League Baseball. And there's going to have to be other players that come up for sure in, the next generation, right? Now let's talk a little bit about a team that is, potentially could be. We got this report today. The Washington Nationals could pilfer Dodgers surplus, put a stamp on the offseason, basically signaling that the Nationals could be interested in trading for some players on the Dodgers. And, it wouldn't surprise me. I think that it's a good destination to send, somebody as Ryan Brazier or Dustin May, who could potentially go, Tony Gonsolin. These guys are obviously on the trading block due to the acquisitions the Dodgers have made. And Chris Taylor, we've talked about him. So sending a player from the Dodgers to one of these non-contenders, that's what the Nationals are, a non-contending team. They are not going to go to the World Series. They're not going to the playoffs. It's a good team to send your players to. You don't want to send them to, a team that could potentially play you in the playoffs. So I would agree with the report. I think the Dodgers would consider the Nationals as a trade partner as they try to make room for the players, after signing Scott and Kirby Yates. Got to make some room here to get these players on the roster. As always, make sure to subscribe, and let's go Dodgers. Woo!